Hello, I'm Aliona Balan, Associate Professor at the Academy of Economic Studies of Moldova, and I would like to present our paper about the problems of attracting foreign investment in the economy of Moldova. Foreign investment has an important impact on the country's economy. The chain of effects it creates affects both production of goods and services and consumption, simultaneously motivating supply and demand. Foreign investment is the incentive that generates new economic activities and aims to obtain goods and services necessary for a prosperous economy. Promoting the appropriate policy by the recipient country towards foreign direct investment is an important and necessary component, as the investment simply will not go where it is forbidden. The importance of this topic is determined by the need to amplify the investment process in Moldova as a requirement for accelerating the economic development of the country, which is impossible to achieve without attracting foreign investment and improving investment policy. The aim of this research was to analyze the trends of development of foreign investments in Moldova, as well as the problems of attracting foreign investment in the economy of Moldova. The research is based on the analysis of published studies, the reports of the National Bank of Moldova, World Investment reports, as well as other information resources of public bodies and experts in the field. Concerning the dynamics of foreign investment in Moldova, it is observed an increased flow until 2019. So the increase in the positive flow was due to the balance of payments, price changes, while the decrease is mostly a result of the fluctuations in interest rate and exchange of original currencies comparing to the American dollar, and also other changes. The increase in foreign investment in Moldova in 2019 was part of a process of uneven growth, which was slowly changing since 2014. In terms of the business sector, foreign investors prefer to invest in fast-growing sectors. The largest foreign investments are directed to financial activities as manufacturing, wholesale, and retail trade. According to the distribution of direct investments in the economic activities, we could mention that the main areas where foreign direct investments were located are financial activities, manufacturing, wholesale, and retail trade. At the same time, Moldova failed to attract substantial foreign investment in agriculture, in the construction industry of agricultural machinery branches that corresponded to the specialization of the national economy at the as mentioned before. These have contributed to changing the structure of the national economy, reducing the contribution of the agricultural sector to the formation of the GDP structure. According to previous research findings, we could mention that the orientation of foreign investment flows were directed to countries that achieved to establish a stable and favorable legislative regime for foreign investments and investors, manifest political and social stability, could remove the barriers to entry the market, have a commercial regime and a free foreign exchange system, have a low level of taxation, benefit from qualified and cheap labor force, and can ensure a proper market. For analyzing the evolution of foreign direct investment flows by main host countries. We could mention that worldwide, still the leader in this position is the United States of America, which holds basically 18% of total foreign direct investments worldwide, and followed by countries as China, Singapore, Brazil, and Hong Kong. In Moldova, there are a number of weaknesses and risks that represent a barrier to attract foreign direct investment and investors. According to this, one of the main disadvantages are related to the political instability, the high degree of moral and physical depreciation of fixed assets in the national economy, insufficient development of the water, air, and rail transport system, as well as of the highways, the ban of acquisition of agricultural land by foreigners, poorly developed infrastructure in tourism, high cost of financing resources, and poorly developed financial infrastructure and an incomplete range of financial instruments used. Concerning the quality of the investment climate, according to several studies, we could mention serious barriers to investments in Moldova, according to the international ratings. So according to the experts of the Moody's investor service, Moldova was placed at B3 level stable, being conditioned by low economic power and limited institutional power. According to these factors, the economy of Moldova is sensitive to external shocks, as well as to cyclical and structural changes in relations within the country's main trading partners. It is emphasized that although Moldova's economic outlook has improved, growth remains volatile, reflecting the vulnerability of the agricultural sector to climate conditions, as well as the economy's strong dependence on remittances from abroad. According to the Index of Economic Freedom from 2019 rating, Moldova registered a score of 59 points. According to its ranking, Moldova classifies on the 97th position out of 180 included in this report, according to the degree of openness of national economy. According to the Index of Economic Freedom, Moldova ranks place 40th out of 44 states in Europe. Economic growth is affected by different other factors as related to corruption at different levels, as well as other restrictions in trade applied by Russia. The economy remains vulnerable to weak administrative capacity, unstable bureaucratic interests, and higher fuel prices. According to the main problems in attracting foreign investment, we could mention the following: the deficit of qualified labor force, inflexibility of the labor market, and insufficiency of specialists with the necessary qualifications, the educational system, which does not correlate sufficiently with the demand from the labor market, the failure of properly developed industrial platforms, also the existence of a relatively high level of shadow economy of Moldova, which was estimated to be about 28% out of GDP, and also the low level of predictability of tax legislation, the high level of fragmentation and ambiguity of the provisions on tax deductibility. Also, more problems could be mentioned related to unsatisfactory infrastructure, inadequate character of the legal framework and institutional framework in Moldova, the large number of state controls, as well as their discretionary nature, low quality of governance and vulnerability of public institutions, deficiencies related to the improper implementation of laws and uncertainty regarding the protection of property rights. Also, an important problem for Moldova as a small economy, its small size of the domestic market and the low purchasing power of the population. In order to improve this problem, a number of measures could be implemented to improve the investment climate in Moldova. In order to this could be implemented a new investment policy which would contribute to encourage investments in the different branches of the countries and to develop a new strategy for the continuation of the existing development programs and its implementation, the creation of clusters and other pilot projects for the development of the industrial sector, to apply different measures in order to combat the shadow economy and all its consequences, to fight corruption at all its level, and of course to ensure the reform of the judiciary system. In small countries as Moldova, the problem of attracting foreign investment is determined by its small size of the domestic market and the relatively low purchasing power of the population. Also, there is a remarkable increase in the pressure of the internal resource system in connection with the increase in the volume of foreign direct investment. So, as other measures to improve the investment climate would be to continue the activities of the export promotion agency created earlier, which was aiming at promoting a positive image of the country abroad, and also to continue the collaboration of foreign investors with vocational and higher education institutions to connect student training programs to the needs of the labor market, and to apply other measures to simplify the fiscal legislation and the improvement of the fiscal administration procedures in the interests of the investors. And in conclusion, we can mention that foreign direct investment are an important factor for economic growth and economic development. They contribute to the need of domestic resources and to the development of the competitive factors of production. But in order to benefit from this investment, it is necessary to solve problems related to stimulating investments and creating a favorable investment climate, which implies economic and legislative stability, and adequate fiscal policy, human capital adjustment, and of course, develop business infrastructure. Improving the investment climate and attracting new investments in the national economy is one of the priorities of the government, and a favorable investment climate must include, of course, long-term macroeconomic stability, stability of legislation that will ensure investors' rights, business infrastructure development, and other components as transparency in the activity of state bodies, and of course, trust in business environment. That was all. Thank you very much for your attention.